The following may contain language that is not suitable for all audiences. It's time for the Low Fat Podcast. We need a manlier bell.
Don't touch my bell.
What's wrong? What is wrong with you? There ain't nobody trying to touch your bells,
It's a very manly bell.
said the unmanly man. Anyway,
I think it's a Tibetan bell.
Dave and Matt. If you don't know who we are, Dave is the lowbrow, low-rent one, and Matt's the highbrow Kiwi Kennedy.
When are we going to do video?
As soon as one or both of us get prettier.
Well, then no video.
I guess when hell freezes over is when
Your head's too big for video anyway.
my head. said that's pretty rich coming from you. Are you sure you're not projecting?
Damn it. So what do you want to talk about?
Well, it's kind of a continuation of the why do we think so highly of ourselves, and this is something that I've run into most of my life. You're not the only one that thinks very highly of humans. Although I think it might be your religious upbringing.
What, you mean my Catholic religious upbringing, or the little sidetrack that I took into Buddhism?
No, your Catholic upbringing. It seems like all Catholics, well, all Christians, whether they be Protestant or Catholic, pretty much. I hate when I do that.
What?
The governor. Yeah. Yeah. Would you stop?
No.
So this whole idea that, that humans are superior, the superior species on the planet, when it suits them, right? Because people are great and noble and all that. And then, if you sit there and point out something like, oh, but we're not.
We're not perfect.
Or whatever. You point out some animalistic thing and they're like, oh, well, they just kind of throw that aside. But, but we're these great and noble beings that are been put here to take care of everything and be all great and smug and self-satisfied. I'm not knocking the idea. I'm just wondering where that comes from.
It probably comes from the thing you were talking about before.
Thinking
that we're great.
I didn't say that. I said my words exactly were think very highly of myself.
Right. So if we think highly of ourselves, then we think we should be in charge of stuff.
I don't think that.
You don't? You don't think you should be in charge?
I think those two things are different.
You don't want to be in charge?
I'm fine with being in charge.
But do you want to be in charge?
If I had a choice?
Yeah.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Being in charge is not a privilege. Being in charge doesn't mean you get to fly around on a giant airplane and then get fed everything and get to soak up all the riches and pussy on earth.
But I think a lot of people, that's what they look at as being in charge.
That's because they're childish. Being in charge means you're the one that everyone looks to get to help with. You're the first to wake up, the last to go to sleep, the last to eat. When you're in charge, basically everybody else comes first. Well, everybody else comes before you.
Well, you're talking about leadership.
If you're in charge, your family comes after someone else's family. Now your family's going to hate you. Or at least resent you,
You're not
right?
taking care of them, yeah.
Oh, no, you're taking care of them, but, they're going to know, right? If I were in charge and I had a wife and kids, my wife and kids would have to know that they're not first.
Well, good luck selling that.
The people that I've been charged with, they come first. And in an indirect way, wife and kids, you're in there with them. But you're not first among equals, right? You're not ahead of the line. That's what being in charge means.
Oh.
What being in charge is what people in charge do is, okay, well, that means I get to make the most money. My family get the most perks. My kids get to go to whatever school they want to go to because, they're the kids of someone who's in charge. And you pig, sheep, and goats, y'all can go fuck yourselves. But, when the time comes and I need something from you, you need to vote. You need to keep me in charge. I've been doing all this shit for you. You ain't been doing nothing.
So people really are stupid then? Because they believe that.
No, they're not stupid. They're lazy. And stupid.
Lazy.
Well, there is an incredible amount of laziness in there. You want your society, your community to work? You can't just vote once every 4 years and think it's good. How many people out there eat one time a day?
I don't know. More than you think, probably.
One time.
Probably.
And I don't mean like some gargantuan meal. I'm talking about like one Happy Meal size meal. One time. Done.
Probably just very few people.
Nobody. I don't even think homeless people eat that little. Now, how can you expect that you take for me, I went and voted not too long ago. Early voting because, the stuff on the news show all these long lines. Of course, there are long lines in states like Tennessee and wherever.
There's no long lines here in California.
There wasn't where I went to. I liked it. I liked the old school machine where you filled in the stuff so you didn't have to, crank the dial like. You went in there, you filled it up, you put it through the Scantron machine. It was great.
Is that different from last time? Last time you had to use the little thing?
Yeah, last time I had to use the little computerized machines that had the dials. Why is it different now? Because they don't want you touching stuff.
Oh.
So they brought out the old school junk, and I like the old school stuff better.
But don't worry, it'll be gone by next time.
Maybe.
If there is a next time.
It could, right. That's another thing. You've actually kind of, popped onto something that's actually very true that no one likes to admit. We're not guaranteed a next time. And when I say next time, that's like the next second. Every single one of us, and I know it sounds morbid, could be dead within the very next minute.
Well, I don't know that I meant that.
Okay.
I was just talking about the next election.
Oh, well. Oh, here I go. Well, then I took it a little too far. So this whole idea that, and when I say I think highly of myself, that's a little different from some other people because other people think that they're great, right? They're really good or really smart or really whatever. I just kind of put that in the blanket of think highly of themselves because I think highly of myself and I don't understand why I would do that. There is no logical reason for it because remember, y'all, I told you I'm a big fat donut.
There's no logical reason that you would what?
Think that highly of myself. I make no money, got no spouse, got no kids, got nothing.
So, but if you were in charge, you would be that leader, though?
What?
You would be the leader that puts everybody first?
That's what being in charge means. That's why I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, pick me, I want to be in charge. But if you throw me and hit me with the stick that says you in charge, that's what you got to do. That's the reason why I don't want to be in charge.
Yeah. Huh.
What?
That makes sense.
You thought I didn't want to be in charge because I'm lazy?
I didn't really know why you didn't want to be in charge.
Thought I didn't want to be in charge because I'm a big fat donut? Well, there's that too. But no, I don't want to be in charge because that's a whole lot of responsibility.
All right.
I don't shirk responsibility.
That's true.
Another thing that I hate about myself is when I say I'm going to do something, it gets done. If I say I'm going to call you, I call you.
Yeah.
And it boggles my mind when people say that to me and it doesn't happen. I'm like, it's a call. You don't even have to remember the number anymore. You've got it all programmed into your phone. You just hit somebody's name and there it is.
Yeah.
But going back to the thing, I don't get it. I don't get why we think so highly and so we think we're all so great. I think that is pretty much the root of all the misfortune and unhappiness. The Buddhists think that desire is the root of all unhappiness. It's not desire, it's the thinking that you're great. I mean, have you met anyone that didn't think that they were great or think highly of themselves in one way or another?
No.
You never thought about it, have you?
No.
Do you think highly of yourself, though?
Yes.
What makes you think that anybody else would be different? I mean, 100% of the people in this room think really highly of themselves. Differently, in different aspects. But the one similarity is that every person in this room thinks very highly of himself.
There's a lot of people in here.
You got multiple personality disorder now? Yeah. What are you, Sybil?
Me, myself, and I.
So, okay, so there's at least 6 of us then.
Yeah, that's just, I don't know.
Well, yeah, but that's, hey, don't feel, I know you won't feel bad about it, but this is a question that has been been on people's minds for thousands of years, and nobody's come close to having a concrete answer to it.
Why we think we're so great?
Well,
I mean, I'm pretty sure it hasn't.
That's
probably put differently.
That's
You're
your
talking about ego, right?
I don't know what I'm talking about. I didn't take psychology.
Ego.
Your spin on it is, why do we think we're so great? My spin on it is, why do we all think so highly of ourselves? But it's really the same thing. There might be different levels and different
the same thing anyway.
And different aspects.
So highly great.
Well, in part of your greatness, you might think that you're really smart.
Okay.
Well, in part of my think highly of myself, my intelligence doesn't come to the equation.
Doesn't?
No.
Mine does.
That's what I'm talking about. We're talking about the same thing, but our categories are different. And when I say categories, like the categories of my high thinkingness and the categories of your greatness. Intelligence.
I thought you were going to say the categories of your low thinkingness.
My low thinkingness?
My low thinkingness.
Oh, well, there's
your
that.
High thinkingness, my low thinkingness.
There's that too, but it's something that's really kind of it doesn't necessarily bug me. Having to deal with it does, right? Because people who think that they're just kind of, I don't know, exceptional for whatever reason are really, really, really difficult to deal with. I mean, people think I'm difficult to deal with, and that's only because I just don't agree with most people.
Yes, you're very contrary.
I think, I believe that I'm the easiest person to deal with, because if you leave me alone, I won't even engage you. You don't even have to deal with me at all.
Worst.
What?
That's even worse.
Okay.
The fact that you wouldn't even want to deal with somebody.
Well, that's just kind of
deal with me.
Well, that's just kind of the way I am, right?
Moi?
Well, there you go, right?
Miss Piggy. Moi?
Okay.
Remember Miss Piggy?
I do, and you're not as cute as she is.
Whatever.
But that's the thing. I mean,
Miss Piggy's very attractive, so whatever.
Okay, Mr. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I get it.
You're not supposed to.
There must be an answer, though.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure there is, and I hope nobody...
Do you think we're going to get there in the next 2 minutes?
No, because in the next 2 minutes, I was going to sit there and complain about just the flippantness of what people say. Like, I really hate listening to a lot of talk stuff. Funny, right? Because I'm sitting here talking. Because people, I don't know. It just, a lot of the stuff that comes out of people's mouths is so trite. Even stuff that's supposed to be profound. When you say it, it's so trite because they don't really care or mean it. Like the people, like there are the sheep and goat class out there saying, "Oh yeah, there's going to be a civil war." And I'm just sitting there going, I'm sitting there thinking in my mind, you should be incredibly terrified if there's going to be a civil war, because you're in a category of person that you would be the first to be killed.
Right.
And yet you're sitting there talking about it like it's a thing on TV.
Well, that is pretty foolish.
I mean, that bugs me to no end. I remember, Well,
I think it's trite that the people say that. They don't really mean it.
They don't, I don't know. See, my brain is like sitting here just about to explode, but I kid you not, there was a person that was so weak, so frail, that they would be the first ones knocked off if the shit ever hit the fan. Because, let's face it, y'all, nobody goes after... When we're all scrounging around for resources and stuff, nobody goes after the person that's armed to the teeth. They go for the frail, weak person.
Right.
Right? The robbers don't go rob cops. They rob little old ladies getting their Social Security money.
Right.
And, when someone who is just pretty much checkmark on weak and couldn't fight back and had all these issues, like, you'd be the first one to get whacked on the head to get all their stuff stolen. And you're sitting there talking about how, oh yeah, there's going to be a civil war, and you're talking about it like you're watching a scene from the Muppet Show. Just made me sit there and go,
If there's any kids listening, they're like, "What's the Muppet Show?"
Well, if there's any kids that were watching that watched the Muppet Show, did have a brief comeback for about a season a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, it was awful.
Yes. So anyway, that's it. Sorry it was long, drawn out, and whatnot, but hey, you get what you pay for.